No encounter is by accident. AKI SÀLÁᐃ RÍRÀ. The city of Ibadan is like no other. From the top of Mapo Hill, one can see the rusty roof stretching as far as the eye can go, glistening in the dying light of the evening sun. That evening, the air was heavy with dust and smoke from countless cooking fires. Somewhere, a hawker's bell rang, and the call of "Ever a-going" bread floated down the street. The sound of distant laughter from children playing ten mingled with the blaring horns of more youths struggling to gather their last passengers. I was exhausted. My wrapper clung to me from the heat of the day, and chalk dust had found its way into the creases of my palms. The students had been restless. Some were preparing for WAEC, others were daydreaming about football. I had spent the day correcting compositions about how I spent my last holiday, red pen bleeding over their poor spelling. My throat ached from scolding. I had eaten only a small piece of bread since morning, saving what was left of my money for the weekend market. As I approached my house, a small two-room apartment tucked behind a compound wall painted in peeling yellow, I noticed someone standing at my gate. At first, I thought it was one of the market women coming to gossip or perhaps my landlady's daughter coming to ask for chalk. But as I drew nearer, I saw a boy, tall, thin, almost skeletal. His shirt had lost its whiteness long ago, now it was a pale grey, torn near the sleeve. His shorts were frayed at the hem. His sandals were nearly broken, one strap tied together with a piece of raffia rope. Sweat and dust made his face look older than his years. He bowed slightly, the way well-trained Yoruba boys do. "Auntie, Ijo, please more," he said, his voice low but urgent. "I heard you help students. Tomorrow is the deadline for WAEC registration. My mother is sick. My father is gone. If I miss this exam, my future is gone." His voice cracked on the last sentence. He clutched a torn exercise book to his chest as though it were a shield. His eyes, though tired, held dignity, not the look of someone merely begging, but of someone fighting for life. I stared at him for a long moment, my hand still resting on my gate. I had never seen him before. He was not one of my students. In this city, where people often fake stories to get money, I should have been suspicious. But something about his eyes disarmed me. There was no trickery there. Only desperation. "How much is the form?" I asked finally. "Nigerian naira 19,500. His voice was barely above a whisper, as though ashamed to mention such a sum. I froze. In my mind, I saw the balance on my phone, 21,000 Nigerian nairas. I thought of my landlord, who would soon come knocking for rent. I thought of the beans and gari I had left in my kitchen, barely enough to last 3 days. The sensible thing was to shake my head and tell him to try elsewhere. But somewhere deep in my spirit, another voice spoke. "Imo iwarawara, aya enboa. Do not hesitate, good fortune is coming." I sighed, unlocked the gate, and motioned him inside so I could sit down. He stood just outside the doorway, still clutching his exercise book as if afraid I might send him away. I asked his name. "Eo," he replied. "Eo Oledimeji." I brought out my small phone, my hands shaking slightly as I opened my bank app. I stared at the balance again. Giving this boy money would almost wipe me out. But I remembered my own WAEC years, how my parents had sold 2 goats to pay for my exam fees. What if no one had helped them? What would I have become? Without another word, I made the transfer. The alert came in seconds. Eo's eyes widened. His knees gave way and he dropped to the dusty ground, bowing low. "Imo. God bless you. You have saved my life," he said, his voice breaking. He stood up and backed away slowly, as if afraid to turn his back too quickly on such a miracle. Then he clutched the book to his chest and walked down the road, each step quicker than the last until he disappeared around the corner. I stood there for a while, still holding my phone, the evening breeze brushing against my face. I felt strangely light, as though a weight had been lifted from me, even though my bank account was now almost empty. That night, as I sat on my thin mattress under the dim glow of my kerosene lantern, I thought of the boy again. Would he pass? Would he even sit for the exam? Or had I just thrown away my last savings on a stranger? I shook off the doubt and whispered a prayer. Oliwa, Jo, J-Iki Epinumidi Ebuken. Lord, please let this decision become a blessing. When I woke the next morning, I half expected him to be back, maybe asking for transport fare or more money. But the street was quiet. Days passed, and I never saw him again. Life, however, had taken note. Destiny had just planted a seed, one that would take years to grow, but when it did, it would change my life forever.